Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Gemstone Legends. So today is the first day of the event, Witch's Kiss, and I wanted to talk about the new epic hero, Nyzette. As you can see, I already got her here. You need to go through campaign battles. If you could go through hell, that's going to make it a lot easier. I grinded as much as I could, and then I just ended up opening up some gold scrolls to finish up the event. So I do have her, and what I want to do is I want to showcase her skills. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on how good she is as a new hero. But first, before we do that, we're going to jump in and we're going to do our code for this event. And the event code is going to be T underscore. And it's going to be event underscore for underscore Nyzette. And I'm also you can also see the code underneath here so that you can type it in. So that's going to be the code for you. So go ahead and claim it, and then you can get yourself a gold scroll. So before we go on to take a look at the loadout for Nyzette, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to compare her against Gilbert and also against Gorak. Okay, these are sort of the heavy hitters for the purple heroes as well. So we're actually going to see them in action first, and then I'm going to go into the loadout. So take a look. So let's start by taking a look at Nyzette against Nagash, the raid boss. That's the current raid boss that I have available right now. So we can try her out throughout the week against different bosses, but let's take a look at her stats first. So right now, she's got 6,200 attack and 256% critical damage, and there's no additional negative stats on the boss, so there's no additional defense down. If we take a look at the amount of damage that she does, you can see that she is able to deal about 17,000 damage. And then if we see with Gorak, you can see that in terms of the stats, similar stats, 6,700 with 258% damage, but because his health is lower, his ability for increased damage is going to be kicked in. If you take a look at the amount of damage that he's able to deal, you can see it's 29,573. And then we look at Gilbert now. Gilbert does his attack based on his health rather than attack. So what we're going to be looking at is critical damage. And he has a pretty high critical damage right now because also of his passive ability. And so if we take a look at his amount of damage, you can see that he's able to deal 19.6 thousand. And then just to round it out, I'm going to go ahead and use all of them in the same fight, and without any bonuses, without any boosts, this is what they deal in terms of damage. Okay, so Nyzette deals about 10,000, Gorak is about 13,000, and then Gilbert is at 16,000. But the thing is, with Nyzette, her damage would stay consistent. It's going to be consistently the same because there's no additional bonus. All right, so here we are. This is the Phoenix Rift, and this is level 18 Light Phoenix. And so again, we're going to be comparing these three side by side. And if we take a look, we start with Gilbert, full health, 30,000 damage. And pay attention, we do have attack up for both of these. So right now, you can see 6270 for Nyzette and 7348 now for Gorak. Right, and so you can see there's definitely going to be a lot more damage coming from Gorak, and we'll start with Nyzette first. Okay, so Nyzette's at 23,000, and then Gorak is dealing 51,000 damage. Okay, so here we are against Moon Sisters, and I actually changed up the heroes a little bit. This time I brought in Arthur because his skills is similar to Nyzette in that it also deals damage to a single enemy. This is at level 1, so his damage percentage is not quite as high. Does ignore 20% defense, and in this situation, his passive ability is not going to kick in. I don't believe, because the attack of the boss is going to be, I believe, a little bit higher than mine. And so we can take a look and see how much damage they both deal. And keep in mind though, his critical rate is a little low, so there's a chance I may not get the critical damage, but let's go ahead and see. So critical damage hit 9,700, and then if you take a look at Nyzette, 10,000. So there's actually not much difference. Okay, so you can see that in terms of the stats, you know, 4,700 for Arthur and 4100 for Nyzette, and so she does have higher critical damage, so it would have actually offset a little bit. But you can see she's supposed to be able to ignore, you know, up to 75% of the defense. It's just that I have no way of knowing how much defense the boss actually has. But you can see that, you know, Nyzette didn't really have as much of an advantage over Arthur in this case either. All right, so now finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Nyzette in action in Arena. And I'll have to say, I actually found this whole ordeal to be a little bit more, less than ideal. I've tried many different arena fights using Nyzette, and I found myself losing most of the time because I'm trying to set up a team and trying to find somebody that Nyzette can be good against, and that'll be Martin. Or anyone that has like good high defense, but against Martin for sure she'll be really good. It's just that she's so squishy. The way I built her is really squishy. You're gonna see later when I talk about her, but it just feels like, you know, there's more that I should be able to do with her. But let's see what we've got now. So I've built a team so I can be fast enough to go first. Let's go ahead and see if we can get ourselves some nice little damage against Martin. So we're gonna go ahead and try this out right now and see what we can do. So against Martin, she does do pretty well. Okay, so you can see here 23,000 takes off most of the health there. His defense is pretty high, and so with the color affinity, that is good. But keep in mind, because she is also a purple hero, the same thing goes for her. She's going to get dealt more damage against her when all of those yellow opponents start going. And so that is the only thing that I found to be a little bit difficult to deal with in situations where if you don't have enough speed against your arena opponents, because at this level here, most of them are all pretty they're all pretty strong and really, really fast. And so that is the thing to keep in mind. And you're gonna see right now, in fact, they're all going to attack Nyzette. Okay, so I've got, you know, I try to put some health in her as well, but you can see here I wasn't able to take out Martin, and they're all targeting Nyzette, and usually around this time, she's about, you know, done by the time it comes back to me. And so this is sort of the situation I often find myself in whenever, like today, when I've been trying to use Nyzette. Okay, so that's the end of the fight. I managed to pull away, pull out a win here, but that was done without Nyzette. I had that one attack in the beginning, and that was pretty much it. And so she really didn't, you know, she really wasn't as effective as I would have liked in Arena or in a lot of the situations, actually. All right, so I'm actually going to wrap up the video with sort of what I normally would do in the beginning, and that is talk about her skills and talk about her loadout. And I'm going to actually give you my personal opinion about this. I wanted to show the engagement with the various different parts of the game to begin with, because I was actually really excited about Nyzette. I went after her hard and I wanted to try it out, mostly because of this skill right here, where it ignores defense. The higher the defense, the higher the ignore value. But as it turns out, when you ignore 25% of a defense versus ignoring 75% of defense, depending on where the opponent's at, the amount of damage that you end up dealing is not really that much more. It's not really a ton more, as I've come to believe. And so it actually is not as strong of a skill compared to damage boost. In this case, I think the defense, ignoring defense, while it's good, but on its own, is really not, it doesn't scale. It's always going to be consistent, and so you're not going to expect to deal more damage. In terms of the loadout, you want to focus on critical damage for sure, because that is also her awakening. So her awakening is all about additional critical damage. Now you could say that with the 30 additional critical damage, maybe you just put a little bit more on the attack. But if you watch one of my previous videos, once you get to a certain level of attack value, it is better to go up with a critical damage. You're going to scale more and get more damage that way. And so with the artifacts I do have, you know, critical damage as the main stat for the glove, and then focus on having attack for your boots and for your armor. Then make sure that you have 4 set of Crusher, because that's where you're going to get the additional 40% critical damage. and then put in a critical rate wherever you can so that you can get up to 85% or higher. I have her at 87% critical rate, and so against a yellow enemy, I'm always guaranteed to have a critical hit. And in most situations, I find that, you know, Gorak and Gilbert simply outdamage Nyzette in almost all the situations, actually in all the situations, and Nyzette is not more tanky. So it's not like she has higher survivability because she is actually relatively squishy. I try to add some stats in her, and she's only at 29,000 health. Gorak will die easier because of his skill. So with his skill, he actually will die easily. So that is the thing. So it's not like Gorak is better, but Gorak can deal so much more damage that when he's alive, he actually can be very useful. So my honest opinion here is I think she does, you know, deal reasonable damage, but not as much as I imagine she would with the passive ability that she has. It's a little bit harder to keep her alive because by default she's a mage type, so she isn't going to have the high health, so you have to protect her. So she's going to be susceptible to damage herself, and if she can't take out the opponent, which is really what she's there for, then that's going to be a little bit more problematic. And so I think that you know, she has good mana gain, so she's going to be able to get her skills going fast, but that's about all I can see that's going for her. And so I think that, you know, for the event, I think you should still go after anyway. There's 14 days in the event itself. So I think that, you know, take your time, go for it. It's always good to have a new hero anyway to build her. But at this point in time, I don't necessarily see her as my primary go-to for raid bosses or for arena fights or for war maybe. So I'm going to have to see. I will definitely try her out against the yellow raid boss Bastet, and then I will sort of give an update on that. But let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed something. You know, like, what do you think about Nyzette? What do you think about her skill? And after seeing sort of, you know, her in action, what are your thoughts? I'm interested here. So that's going to be it for me for today, guys. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.